Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If becoming a mangaka in One Piece world. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 621, Magellan's Conclusions So Far. Marineford. What do these two bastards plan to do? Exclaimed Sengoku. Who is currently in charge of the prison in the manga? Is it Magellan? Where is he amidst all this chaos, for heaven's sake? In the bathroom? Impel Down has at least two strong figures like admirals in charge. Don't tell me that just two troublemakers like Luffy and Buggy will turn it upside down. That's practically impossible, but we're talking about Luffy here. If we add this lucky clown to the mix, well. Zephyr and Sengoku both knew when their fears were realized in the next moment. What? These fools decided to change the silently infiltrate plan into a make a huge uproar plan. Sengoku's eyes widened when he saw Buggy and Luffy attacking the beast guards. That's good then. If they choose to make a big fuss, it means they will be continuously pursued by the guards and prison leaders. It's better than staying in the shadows at least. At this moment, Sakazuki entered the Fleet Admiral's office after leaving earlier. Sengoku's expression didn't change upon hearing Sakazuki's words, but internally, he could understand the logic behind it. Kuzan crossed his legs before speaking as well. No doubt, this is a double-edged sword as well. From what I see, Luffy will reach his goal, no matter the difficulties and hardships he'll go through, but if the war has already been set, Luffy won't be able to save Ace at this stage, no matter how hard he tries. Do you mean? Borsalino smirked in his usual way after hearing that. He had already understood what Kuzan meant. If Luffy doesn't achieve his original goal of saving Ace here in Impel Down, what will he achieve by coming to this dangerous place? Tsuru said, as if wondering, but with her cunning and experience, she had already grasped the answer. Sai gathering allies. Sengoku announced what was going through everyone's minds at this moment. That's what sets this kid apart after all. Chapter 527, The Crimson Hell. Jaya haha. You're done for, you see, gorilla. After a fierce battle, Buggy managed to defeat one of the beast guards. But in the next moment, his eyes widened as the beast guard stood back up. Gay. It didn't work. Immediately after, Buggy's body split into parts, and he managed to evade the beast guard's attack. Dawa, that was close. Wait. Stop that. Buggy didn't expect the next development, where with a single punch, Luffy knocked down the beast guard that was attacking him. Looks like you got a little stronger, said Buggy. They're strong. What kind of animal are they? Luffy asked a question. They're the martial artists of the ocean, the blue gorillas, or bluggery. Don't get careless, there are still 4 more. Before Buggy could finish his sentence, Luffy had already taken them all out. They're already down. But I don't have time to fight them all like this, Luffy said, tightening his grip. This scene left the prisoners inside the cells in awe. Wow. They beat the bluggery. Hey! Who are you guys? Open the door. Open it. Far away in the control center, the prison guards were in a state of confusion. Isn't there only one escapee? There should be just one. I might have seen it wrong, but I think I saw 2 shadows. Anyway, in front of mixed residence cell number 10, 5 bluggery have beaten. The surveillance Den Mushi relayed the situation to the monitoring guard. 5 of them. That can't be. There shouldn't be anybody on level 1 who can take out 5 bluggery. Back to where Roger's pirates are currently gathered. Everyone was on the edge of their seats since they started reading the new volume. It's impossible for the Straw Hat to be stronger than me. I must have been pretending to be weak. Jaya haha. Yes, that's true. Maybe I'll show my superiority at the last moment to save Ace. Right, right. Buggy's red nose shone with confidence as he spoke. Who in hell would believe that a 17-year-old kid could be physically stronger than a former member of Roger's crew, who was around 37 years old? Look at Shanks, who was almost the same age, with the same background. Wasn't he a famous emperor of the sea? So, it's only logical to believe that Buggy is hiding his strength for a reason. How couldn't he defeat just one Bluggery? The Roger pirates, including Shanks, looked at Buggy with a strange expression. Buggy was uneasy under their gazes and asked hesitantly, "What? Did you really not manage to defeat one Bluggery?" Shanks said with narrowed eyes, his expression seemed mocking. He. Impossible, you must be joking. Didn't you hear what I just said? Buggy started sweating at this moment. Doesn't Buggy in the manga know that Ace is our son? On that grassy hill, Rouge enjoyed the cool and refreshing breeze before asking a question she wanted an answer to. Maybe he knows. And maybe he doesn't. Roger replied with a smile. Rouge pouted in annoyance. She wanted one answer, not maybe two. Seeing this cute reaction, Roger laughed heartily, wahahaha, before saying, "Personally, I find Buggy in the manga very mysterious. He's basically a funny character, on the surface, just a weak clown with moderate strength at best. But what most people in the manga world don't know is that he has the same background as one of the Sea Emperors, and he also has good luck." No one knew what Roger meant by good luck, only Roger knew what he meant. Impel down. The first conclusion, the alive surveillance Den Mushi is not entirely capable. It must be replaced with non-living monitoring means in closed rooms and physical examination rooms. By hell! Even the Den Mushi is affected by Boa Hancock's powers and turns into stone. What kind of power is this that can even influence the snail and make it lust after it? The second conclusion. Don't trust pirates even if they are allies to the world government. Don't trust their sudden requests. If a beautiful woman lets her clothes fall off completely before entering the prison, maybe you'll find a man hanging on her waist. The third conclusion, maybe you'll find a random pirate and a funny clown using a devil fruit. Make sure the prisoners are not devil fruit users before choosing the type of handcuffs that will lock them in the cell. Otherwise, they will escape smoothly from their cells and cause chaos. The fourth and important conclusion, beware of Hannibal. At this moment, Magellan was jotting down his conclusions so far in his notebook while reading the manga and having a peaceful bowel movement. Chapter 622, Who Are You Really? Chapter 527's Events. You want to save Ace? Exclaimed Buggy in shock, then immediately whispered, "Ashishishishishich. They'll find us." "You're the one who was yelling," said Luffy, bewildered. "Hey, guys, open the cell," the prisoners continued pleading to be released. "Geez, you're noisy." "Shut up," exclaimed Buggy again. "You know about Ace?" Luffy was surprised. "Yeah. Unlike you, your brother seems like a good guy. We were drinking buddies for a while. So I was really bummed out when I heard what happened. It's pure foolishness to lay a hand on Whitebeard's guys, Marines." Buggy expressed his opinion candidly. "I want to go to level 5. That's where Ace is, right?" Luffy asked for confirmation. "How should I know? If you want to go, then go on your own. Do you think we're friends or something? I'm not going somewhere that dangerous." Buggy immediately set boundaries to avoid getting involved with Luffy again, then began to leave, saying, "Later. If you're not coming with me, then I'm escaping on my own. Even though there are 10 warships outside? Can you really escape?" At this moment, Luffy seemed more cunning than Buggy. 10 of them. I see. It's to defend against Whitebeard. This is a bad time. Well then, I'll just kill some time here. Just as Buggy was about to turn to leave, he was drawn to a specific object on Luffy. "Guess I'll have to ask someone else," Luffy decided. No, it can't be. That's totally ridiculous." Buggy seemed to be talking to himself. "Well, see you later." Good luck escaping, said Luffy. It can't be. There's no mistake. Buggy's eyes widened in shock, then he quickly jumped at Luffy. Hold it right there, Straw Hat. What's wrong with you? Luffy exclaimed. I'll tell you how to get to where Ace is. In return, will you give me the armband? Buggy proposed a deal immediately. Sure. If that's what you want. Luffy agreed. Beside Oro Jackson in the New World. What caught your attention to that armband? Isn't it just an ordinary armband? Asked Shanks. Yes, it's suspicious. Buggy, who we know, would never risk his life for nothing, except treasures, and not just any treasure. It must be a valuable treasure like Captain John's precious treasure, added Gaban. Does this armband have any connection to a specific treasure? After all, Luffy found it in the loot they obtained from Thriller Bark, if I recall correctly. True, judging by Buggy's shocking reaction, it seems so. Oh, Buggy, how audacious. Is that armband more important than the life of your captain's son? Roger's crew gave Buggy disapproving looks, making him sweat. Of course not. I must have randomly come up with a reason to help Luffy find Ace only. Even he didn't believe the vague excuse he came up with, let alone the rest of the crew. Ha ha ha. Look at the terrified expression on your face. They're just messing with you, and you fell for it. Shanks burst into laughter, saying that. Then the rest of the men followed suit, including Rayleigh. Ha 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 ha. Wah ha 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 ha. Hi hi ya hi ya ha. Buggy's mood soured after seeing this scene, but internally, he sighed with relief. As long as his crew didn't reject him because of his counterpart's actions in the manga, everything else was acceptable. Buggy focused his gaze on Luffy's armband again, but he didn't find it familiar and didn't know the reason behind his counterpart changing his stance and helping Luffy in exchange for obtaining it. I'll probably learn about it in the future. It's either something precious or indicates something valuable since it caught my counterpart's attention. Since it came from the Thriller Bark treasure, it might be related to Captain John's treasure after all, considering his body is also in Thriller Bark. These were Buggy's thoughts at that moment. Regarding Thriller Bark, it was recently in an unenviable situation. A few days ago, an elite fleet of steel ships surrounded Thriller Bark Island, which had transformed into a ship by 90%. The crucial point was that it was moving like a ship. A ship the size of an island. This place is under the jurisdiction of the Hunters' Guild. Members of Gecko Moria's crew are also under arrest. Carpenters and those responsible for construction and transforming the island into a ship will be exempted, paid their dues in full, and returned to their homes. Standing in front of a crowd of terrified people, Bullet listed the decisions related to Thriller Bark after capturing its owner and throwing him into the central prison. Hearing that, the workers' crowd stopped trembling with fear and cheered happily. Finally, their suffering was over. Finally, the Hunters' Guild intervened in their ordeal and stopped Moria's evils. Among the crowd, a relatively young boy emerged from hiding state, forced into it after losing consciousness due to Bullet's overwhelming hockey attack. Go and restrain that boy. He must be Absalom. Got it, sir. The elite hunter nodded and executed the orders of the legendary hunter. How they would deal with him later was none of his concern. Burn all the corpses that Moria manipulated. The shadows have already returned to their owners, well, except for the shadows whose owners have already died and Moria managed to control them due to his newly discovered power. Bullet ordered again. After all that, the island ship was pulled to another location where the Hunters' Guild successfully took control of it. This was the end of Moria's life as a pirate, before it even began. Moria's life as a pirate ended in this world, at least. Perhaps what will happen to him later will be extremely shocking. Returning to the present time on Whole Cake Island. Mama, Mama. It seems you're enjoying your time, kids. In her giant body, Charlotte Linlin sat down to get closer to the girls who were playing with the snow-like ice cream, joyfully hitting each other with it. The hidden girls looked at Linlin and signaled her silently not to reveal their hiding places, or they would be hit with the dense snow until they turned into snowmen and lost the round in the end. Oh, you really seem to be enjoying yourselves. Lin nodded to them with a smile and agreed to their request, then stood up and moved away to watch from the side. At this moment, Rob appeared as if he emerged from the void and stood beside her. "You're doing well taking care of them," Rob said with a smile. "I have a lot of children, after all. Before I became a mad pirate, I used to have some common sense," she replied calmly and without haste. "I see, who would expect that Big Mom has such a side, really? Don't call me by that title. I no longer like it. You'll get used to it in the future. After all, you're one of the most monstrous Yonko in the manga." Hiss, really? Well, on the other hand, your old self doesn't differ much from when you were an abandoned child in some aspects. Hearing that, Lin began to tremble as she recalled her past, her childhood. "What do you mean?" "You'll understand in due time," Rob answered with a mysterious smile. "Dear, I've always wondered, who are you really?" Lin remembered her conversation with Katakuri at that time and asked a strange question she didn't know why she asked in the first place. "You'll never know," Rob answered calmly before walking lightly towards his children. "But now I'm just a loving father, unlike you." Leaving behind these words. Chapter 623, Impel Down's Design. Chapter 527's Events. Level 2. No, I want to go to level 5. Luffy, carrying the detached feats of Buggy's main body, expressed his refusal. Buggy, who was floating in the sky, turned around and shouted, "I'm telling you, Straw Hat, you can't go straight there. Listen, the Impel Down prison is set up like this. This is the first floor underground, so it's called Level 1. Level 2. Level 3. The criminals get more and more powerful as you go farther down." In the background, the design of Impel Down prison appeared as described by Buggy. Except for the building above the surface in the center of the outer city, the main building consists of 5 levels below sea level, plus an additional level that is the last, indicated by a question mark. "I've been sent to level 4 for the burning torture. I don't even know what the next level down would be like." Buggy continued speaking. "I'm pretty sure they keep the guys with bounties over 100 million on level 5, the lowest floor. But some prisoners say there's another floor below that. The monsters sleeping there are so evil that they've been completely erased from history. It's just a rumor, but Ace might be there. Anyway, I can lead you as far as level 4. "I see. You got nice all of a sudden," Luffy said with a smile. "Kaya, that's because you're going to give me the treasure mark that shows you the way to Captain John's treasure." "Ha!" Buggy closed his mouth hastily when he realized he spilled all the beans at once. As expected. In the vast grassy field overlooking the sea, Roger's pirates stared at Buggy with wicked smiles on their faces. Buggy's forehead twitched as he instinctively retreated. "That fool!" he said everything in the next moment. "It's really the treasure mark pointing to Captain John's treasure." Ha ha ha. Look at the repulsive expression on his face, he didn't even realize he said something he shouldn't have. Ha ha ha. Buggy is truly the best. Hey, is this what you said you were using only as a cover to help save Ace? Isn't your main goal to get the treasure mark in the first place? Ha ha ha. Just admit it, Buggy. We already know your true nature deep down. Shut up. And what if I reap some benefits? Luffy doesn't care about treasures. Nami is the one who cares. As long as Luffy doesn't tell Nami, everything will be fine, shouted Buggy. Gaban, Shanks, Nosden, Jackson Banner, and even the fishman Sunbell looked at Buggy with astonished expressions. If Nami finds out that she let the biggest treasure slip through her fingers in a stupid way, I don't know what her reaction will be. Oh God, Buggy is playing with fire. If Nami finds out, it will definitely be a disaster. Wait a moment. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, Roger's pirates burst into infectious laughter as they continued to the next page of the chapter. All of them, without exception, laughed at Buggy with tears when Luffy handed the treasure mark to Buggy, despite knowing that it could lead to a huge treasure, all because he wanted to save Ace. At first, Buggy seemed to be affected by Luffy's trust, even crying and saying, "You can't trust me that much. It's not fair to me. I'm not exactly a good guy, you know. You shouldn't be trusting a guy like me." Nevertheless, he grabbed the treasure mark and took it, saying, "My heart's desire, the treasure map, Captain John's mark. And just giving it to me. I'm so grateful. Straw Hat." Immediately after, his expression changed from heroic to mocking. "Now, how do I get away from this guy? Jaya ha ha ha." After revealing his true colors, he collided with the wall, and to help, Luffy deepened his pain by hitting him on the wall, thinking it was the fastest way to escape. This scene literally made Roger's pirates cry from laughter, to the point that some were clutching their stomachs. One of them was Shanks. Not far from the fellas, Roger and Rouge were also laughing. Buggy doesn't know that there's no way to deceive a troublemaker like Luffy, wahaha. Now that they've been discovered, he has no choice but to chase after him. Well, what a despicable villain. As soon as he gets what he wants to escape immediately. Luckily, this happened before he could escape. Well, he doesn't know Ace's true identity, my dear. Nevertheless, where did he learn to be so deceitful? I don't see a single pirate with a malicious spirit in your crew. Maybe it's just a mask. I don't think so. He's a natural-born evil clown. Roger and Rouge did not know that what Buggy would do from this moment onwards would completely change their opinions about him, not only them but the entire world. Marineford. As expected, the prison's design has been revealed, even the secret sixth floor has been indicated. Sengoku slapped his desk hard, causing it to crack. Since the appearance of the One Piece manga, the Fleet Admiral's desk has been changed countless times, with dozens of them being broken. And the reason is none other than Sengoku, who breaks them due to his emotions and anger. Why wouldn't he get angry? The prison design has been publicly revealed, and how the most powerful criminals are imprisoned in the higher levels. Even the level designed to be completely secret was simply exposed. What does that question mark mean? Just write the sixth level from the beginning. Even Admiral Akaino lost his temper. One Piece still treats their military secrets as a joke, each time revealing some of them so that nothing is left to be revealed. That bastard Buggy deserves what happened to him. I want to see him torn apart to calm down. His presence is truly provocative. What a son of a bitch. How the heck was Buggy on Roger's ship? Or rather, why is he now on the Pirate King's ship? What's special about him other than his red nose? There's no doubt that the revelation of Impel Down's design by Buggy made the Marines and the world government extremely angry. Ohara. Very superficial design. I'm looking forward to seeing what distinguishes each level and how prisoners are tortured, what makes this prison called hell. And the most important question, on which level will they put me when Luffy defeats me, fufufu. Even before the Dressrosa arc was presented, Doflamingo already anticipated his defeat by Luffy and his imprisonment in Impel Down. Hearing that made Enel shake his forehead. Even if you lose, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll be imprisoned. Aren't you a celestial dragon, even if a fallen one? Fufufu, fallen celestial dragons are no different than trash in the eyes of the world government. If I fall against Luffy, my fate won't necessarily be just imprisonment. That's because I know a lot of secrets they don't want to be revealed. Well, judging by the situation now, it seems that it will be revealed by me in the manga, just as the design of Impel Down was revealed by Buggy. I look forward to that day. Chapter 624, Level 1, The Crimson Hell. I eagerly anticipate that day. Doffy's laughter and his mannerisms made Enel and Rosinante shiver instinctively. He appeared strikingly similar to his anime counterpart, whose voice they had heard not long ago when he first appeared after losing Bellamy and his followers to Luffy. You're quickly becoming more like your future self, Rosinante said tensely. What do you know about my counterpart in the manga? Not much has been revealed about him yet. Doffy said with a mocking tone mixed with some amusement. Shichibukai, a powerful pirate, a slave trader who controls the most famous slave auction in the Sabaody archipelago. Isn't that enough to conclude that your manga counterpart is not worse than Enel's counterpart? Hearing this, Both Enel and Doflamingo looked at Rosinante in astonishment. What? Is there something on my face? Rosinante asked in confusion, touching his face. You've become smarter, kid. Enel exclaimed. Ha? Did you all think I was stupid all this time? So, is this what the name Crimson Hell means? Crimson refers to the color of blood, right? Fufu suddenly, Doflamingo and the others were again drawn to the manga as they heard the gasps of readers who trembled in fear. That's inhumane. Who came up with such an idea? Are you telling me that cutting tendons and constant pain, this hell belongs only to level 1? Do they think everyone has Buggy's ability to resist having their flesh cut? This is horrifying. Readers took a cold breath while commenting in horror on the events of the chapter. It was just a glimpse of hell that allowed them to understand why it was called the Crimson Hell. Chapter 527's Events. Where's this? After passing through the monitor room and destroying both of its walls, both Luffy and Buggy began to fall toward a red-colored forest. There's a forest, in the prison. Monitor room. There really is another guy. Right now they are. The guards hurried to announce the presence of Luffy with Buggy. The forest is all red. And there's a bunch of people down there. Luffy noticed everything from above. They're prisoners. This isn't just a forest. The leaves on the trees cut you like knives. They're blade trees. Buggy continued to explain what the Crimson Hell truly meant. The grass planted below pierces you like needles, and it's called needle grass. In the background, there truly appeared the sharp needles stained with red blood, where the prisoners walked on them like living corpses. They had lost the ability to scream from the intense pain for a long time. The prisoners are chased by poisonous spiders and jailers all around the forest, cut by the leaves and grass, staining the forest with their blood, suffering from being sliced all over. This is level 1, the Crimson Hell. This is Impel Down. The scene depicted in the manga was enough to describe the horror of this hell. Help me dash, help AAHH dash it Hewards. The Paean. The cries for help and the rough moans of the prisoners were enough to describe the terror of this place. Luffy, who finally understood the extent of its horror, could only express his shock and wonder. It's really hell. This is what Ace is going through too. Impel Down. I don't know if we should feel happiness, anger, fear, or ignore all of this. Every prison guard in Impel Down felt a conflict at this moment. This chapter made them gulp in shock and fear. Not that they were unaware of the true horror of the Crimson Hell. They were the most acquainted with it in the first place. But strangely, this chapter made them feel as if they were discovering the Crimson Hell for the first time. The manga's presentation of level 1 made them feel horror, as if they had experienced the same pain as the prisoners in the manga. This was the case with the guards and the jailers themselves in the prison, so how would it be with ordinary people? Throughout the world, all pirates and criminals felt true fear from the depths of their hearts. On this day, many turned away from committing crimes, and even the major criminals and those with bounties on their heads decided to surrender themselves to the central prison. None of them even wanted to think about the experience of being prisoners in the Crimson Hell. Buggy's description of this level caused real horror for everyone who read this chapter. In the end, Buggy managed to walk in this Crimson Hell as if he were strolling in his backyard, and the reason was the split fruit ability. That damned clown. He was a pro at making me feel the extent of the horror of this level, but he walked through it smoothly. What does that mean? The prison guards slapped their foreheads as if they felt deceived by Buggy once again. The Crimson Hell was terrifying and all, but for Buggy, it was nothing more than a breeze. Returning to the Sorbet Kingdom, the general mood here was no different from the rest of the world. Everyone holding a One Piece volume in their hands trembled in fear everywhere from the sheer horror of this ruthless forest. Except for the Revolutionary Army, of course. Garp scoffed at this moment. This is nothing, wait until you see the higher levels. The desire for death will become the wish of many, but they won't be able to achieve it according to their own wishes. Pirates deserve this, most of them have committed deeds that history will not forget, Dragon said indifferently. That's true, But there are those who don't deserve to pass through this hell, but they are here for one reason or another. I like the courage of my grandson. I bet my manga counterpart will lose his balance from the shock if he knows that his grandson came to impel down right after his leaving. Booahaha. Garp laughed uncontrollably. This hole leads to level 2. Doesn't it? Kuma asked. To make them despair and desire greater punishment to escape from their current torment, is there a better hell than this? Ivankov shuddered. That's it. What is Mr. 3 doing here? At this moment, Crocodile's eyes widened after seeing Mr. 3 in the last scene of the chapter. Chapter 625, Level 2, The Wild Beast Hell. Chapter 528, Jim, Knight of the Sea. Impel Down, Level 2, The Floor of Demon Beasts. Luffy and Buggy stood on the second floor surface, staring up at a demonic beast looming over them as if it desired to engulf them. Here it comes, exclaimed Buggy and Luffy, running away from the massive creature resembling a mix of a rooster and a snake. God damn it. I'm done for. I'm gonna get eaten alive. I never meant to come down to level 2. I was gonna leave you behind, confessed Buggy to his ill fate. But Luffy hadn't realized that yet. He looked at Buggy and asked, Huh? Did you say something? Buggy, what the hell is that thing? That's a natural mutant, a rarity amongst rarities, said Buggy. That's a snake born from a chicken's egg, a basilisk. The monster reappeared behind them, this time with an identification card beneath it. Guard Animal Basilisk Dash. Level 2 is the Beast Hell. Monsters like these are running wild throughout this entire floor. A chicken gave birth to that, marveled Luffy. It's a monster because it's abnormal. It would be eating people if it were on the surface, so they keep it here. After saying that, both Buggy and Luffy jumped away to avoid being bitten by the beast. Alright, bring it on. Luffy stopped running and seemed ready to kick the monster's ass. The Wild Beast Hell. So, this is what's called Level 2 beneath the sea surface of Impel Down? In the white city that turned green a few years ago, Flevant's capital city. The Trafalgar family was reading One Piece manga. This time, not alone, but with friends and companions in the art store. After all, Mary was about to give birth, so everyone was watching her to prevent any mistakes or accidents. Naturally, the most cautious person was her husband, Chris. Chris was the one who commented on the second floor of Impel Down. Basilisk? What a strange beast. I've never heard of it before. As Buggy described it, it's truly rare even among rare monsters. I never imagined that a chicken's egg could hatch such a man-eating monster. Could it be the result of mating between a snake and a chicken? And is that even possible? I suggest it's just a bizarre mutation for the egg under the unlikely possibility you mentioned just now. Yes, a snake wouldn't mate with a chicken intending to eat it later. BFT ha ha ha. That's funny, laughed Mary. Chris smiled before looking towards the group and explaining what he knew. That's what makes this creature rare. Mating under special and difficult conditions may occur, or it could also be a rare genetic mutation. But the fact of the existence of this monster called Basilisk is a confirmed reality. The manga won't lie to us. Keep your eyes open because we'll see even rarer monsters after this. Everyone nodded in understanding after hearing that. As expected from the president, we can't compare at all in terms of biological knowledge. No matter how scary the wild beast hell is, the important thing is that it's trapped there and not abundant in the outside world. Hee, did you forget Little Garden Island, where there were extinct monsters like dinosaurs? What's scary about this basilisk compared to the terrifying prehistoric dinosaurs? And aren't the massive sea kings more terrifying? Upon hearing the man's comment, the readers shuddered involuntarily. Their fear of the wild beast hell disappeared when they remembered the terrifying dinosaurs they saw in Little Garden and the colossal sea kings in the Combelt. This is madness. I didn't know the world was this vast and complex. With One Piece manga, I've become more aware of my world. I won't leave my safe island anymore. Marine Ford. Even Basilisk was mentioned how it came to life. Sengoku seemed to have calmed down in some way and retreated his anger, but he remained reserved. He was certain that Luffy would continue descending through the prison layers, revealing a lot, even things they might not be aware of about their prison. I'm more interested in the chapter title. It's about the fishman ethnicity Shichibukai, that Jinbe we know nothing about. Knight of the Sea. Is that his title? Interesting. Since the chapter is about him, it means his official appearance in this chapter. Sengoku stood up from his seat and drew 2 horizontal lines on the name Jinbe, which he had previously written during the Amazon Lily arc. I will finally see the reason why a Shichibukai sacrificed his race's safety, Shichibukai title, and freedom to not participate in the war for us. Is it fear of the Whitebeard, or is it respect for him? Why do you care about a fish? Even if he's a little stronger, he's still just a fish, humph. Sakazuki snorted after posing a question. You're still young, Sakazuki. It's better to learn not to despise. This fish may be a big obstacle for you and prevent you from achieving your goal. Akaina raised an eyebrow after hearing that. He felt uncomfortable. The whole Cake Island. Come on, Luffy, defeat this big chicken. Little Hancock raised her tiny fists, cheering Luffy from the bottom of her heart. Big chicken? Isn't it just a small and cute snake? Little Robin tilted her head to the side, asking confusedly. Does it really look cute? Your father drew it so accurately that it looks scarier than a dragon. Rob was surprised and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. After finishing publishing the volume and taking care of some matters, he decided to visit his children and their friends for some fun. He didn't expect to find them gathered around a One Piece manga, flipping through its pages quickly. They were already in the scene of Luffy and Buggy on level 2 of Impel Down. Seeing Hancock's special encouragement for Luffy, Rob innocently started to feel pain in his heart. Initially, it would be a positive feeling. What if it turns into foolish love as originally intended later? Rob shook his head, not even wanting to imagine that. Dad, you have to make it scarier. It didn't scare me at all. Darashishi, it looks cute in my eyes. Robin's mocking laughter after saying that made Rob's forehead tremble uncomfortably. How did she learn that? It wasn't him. It's not that I'm the original designer. I swear I tried to make it not funny like Oda-sensei did. Rob sighed internally before picking up the mischievous child. Are you making fun of your dad, huh? Well, how about another tickling session as punishment? No. I wasn't making fun of my dad. It's scary, yes. I'm very scared of this monster you drew, Dad. Like Buggy and Luffy, I'm really scared. Linlin watched the family scene, contemplating the profound words Rob left for her before leaving. Am I really a bad mother? Chapter 626, The Dominant Manga King. The appearance of the Poison Man, Magellan. The spirit returned to the pages of the manga, manifesting in lively characters that moved, spoke, and wove a story that seemed fantastical. However, in reality, what was being woven was the original and true story behind this world. The original story before the Manga King turned it upside down. His brushes caused the wheels of history to tickle and urged them to deviate right one time and left another. The winds of change began in the first moment he opened his eyes here. From that moment, this world no longer had a unified and singular path. As the parent of Nico Robin, the spouse of Nico Alvia, and a member of Roger's Pirates, he began drawing manga since then. The pages of history changed and flipped one after another. With his brush alone, he made the rulers of the world sit in their seats and eagerly await the next volumes without any real impact. Despite having the power to bother him a little by intervening in the provocation of his brush movements, they chose not to do so. And, of course, the reason behind that remained unusually unknown. The king of this world itself, whose background the Manga King had not confirmed yet, expressed continuous admiration for himself. Where was the plot of this world heading now? No one knew, not even the Manga King himself. But he was sure of one thing: the plot of this world would unfold according to his brush and his pen. It would go where he wanted it to go, for sure. I will make sure to change everything, for you. I will make this world have a happy ending for everyone who deserves it. His bright children's eyes reflected in his eyes as he woke up from his thoughts. Previously, he successfully changed Robin's fate, witnessing the beginning and end of the world in the original story. On that unforgettable day when he descended into the manga world as a purely angelic spirit, his light was strong enough to illuminate even the depths of the true plot. And now, it was time for another remarkable character who suffered a more miserable fate in the original story. Rob was determined to use his brushes to draw a new and exciting story for this child, even before their birth. So, the stage was set to allow the public to review his true story, and then the reform would come afterward. When Ace opens his eyes in this world for the first time, he will have a real family. As if writing in the air, his words became a heavenly law that could not be challenged. This was the power of the intermediate mangaka, capable of influencing fate in any world to some extent and manipulating it. He couldn't imagine how much more terrifying this power would be as it evolved. Author's note: Rob's most powerful and terrifying cheat is this title, don't forget that. Have you caused any trouble for your mother Lin? Upon hearing their father's inquiring tone, Robin, Yamato, Hancock, and the others quickly shook their heads instinctively, expressing that they had not done anything bad. Good children. Rob hugged them one by one before turning to Lin, who was puzzled after hearing the words, your mother Lin, from Rob's mouth. Was this his acknowledgement that she had become like a mother to them? What's wrong with not being a good mother in the past? The past can be changed and manipulated as long as we have the power and determination to influence the present. Rob placed his hand on Lin's shoulder, which had turned the same size as his at the moment he decided to touch her. His presence surrounded him with mystery as if he were a divine being walking in the world of a book. Just looking at him made Lin's soul tremble, but in some way, she felt absolute comfort in his presence, as if he had already accepted her. From now on, I will be a good mother. I will take care of all my real children and erase all my past mistakes. Lin said with dignity. At this moment, she saw a side of Rob that she had never seen before. She caught a glimpse of Rob's true shadow, but she wouldn't be able to know who he really is no matter how hard she tried, just as he told her before. Good, I'll leave the children in your care, make sure to bring them back to Ohara in time, I'll reward you later. Rob said before disappearing into nothingness. After hearing the word I'll reward you, Lin's eyes sparkled, drowning in endless excitement. Chapter 528's Events. Ah. Oh, a guest. After coming out of the restroom, the man resembling a devil wanted to return immediately, but he was surprised to find a guest, not just one but two. I'm the chief warden, Magellan. That was a tough battle, referring to the intense battle of emptying the bowels. Impel down chief prison warden, Magellan, a poison man, who ate the doka fruit. We're in a hurry, Chief Warden Magellan. Mangaka didn't want to hear the continuous nonsense from both Magellan and Hannibal, so he quickly clarified his position. Yes, my apologies. I had to relieve myself. It seems that the poison soup I had for breakfast hit the spot. I think that might be because of the poison. I'm a poison man, so it's my favorite food. Nevertheless, Magellan seemed to be a professional at spouting nonsense. Spending a long time in the bathroom undoubtedly had its consequences. You know what they say, fight poison with poison. Didn't you get the runs because you did just that, said Hannibal mockingly. You have a sharp tongue, as usual, Hannibal. Please fall from the chief warden's position soon. Ah, excuse me, I should say that they would like to meet Fire Fist Ace as soon as possible. That was a terrible mistake to make. I've got such heartless subordinates. Magellan sighed, and oh, they wished he hadn't sighed. Please be careful of your sighs. Your breath really is a poison gas. Hannibal, Domino, Hancock, and Mangaka all felt suffocated. Inside the heavy walls of Impel Down, the sound of laughter intensified. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. My God. This is extremely funny. Ha ha ha. Is this what you'll become after 2 decades? A foolish poison man? The poison must be affecting your mind. Oh, lucky me that I didn't choose to eat that devil fruit and left it for you. Shiryu openly mocked Magellan, who was not long ago his fellow in training high-ranking prison officers. Your appearance in the manga is like a clown's appearance. Do you spend 10 hours in the restroom? What nonsense! No, I apologize to Buggy. The clown is much better than you. Ha ha ha. Shiryu. I swear I'll tear you apart and inject poison into your entrails, $at and. Magellan could no longer bear Shiryu's mockery. As he was about to attack, he was stopped by a large hand that held him firmly. Despite Magellan's large size due to the unique characteristics of the Ogre race, he looked like a small toy in the hand of the strange monster. Before the features of the monster became clear, it quickly returned to a human form. What is this nonsense? Did I appoint 2 fools in this prison? All the prisoners, including Magellan and Shiryu, trembled upon hearing the man's voice. The dust cleared, revealing a man with a large mustache. Topman Warcury, in a black suit, looked disapprovingly at both Shiryu and Magellan. We apologize for showing this shameful side in front of the Saint of Justice. Forgive us for our impudence, Your Majesty. Both Magellan and Shiryu bowed humbly and asked for forgiveness. They had no idea why one of the Gorosei had arrived here, suddenly, and without warning. This prison really needs rehabilitation. Magellan. Although Shiryu was harsh in his words, they are true. Your first appearance in the manga is discouraging. Just a Shichibukai managed to deceive you. You, who have the power of an admiral. Strange, your flaw is too big. If your future counterpart doesn't show real value, your services will be abandoned. Magellan shivered when he heard the words of the Gorosei. At that moment, he realized that his fate was in the hands of his counterpart in the manga. Chapter 627, Liberation of the Prisoners. Mr. 3 joins. Calm belt, impel down. Will you let me go deliberately after everything? In his cell on the 4th floor of Impel Down, the young Marshal D. Teach pondered the past, which had become blurry and intertwined with the world of manga since he was thrown here in prison, no, hell. On that day, when he was treated by Marco and realized his shackles was lifted, he didn't think much as he successfully escaped from Moby Dick. He didn't know he was being let go in the first place. Only until he ended up in Impel Down did he realize he had overlooked many things. Perhaps because he no longer desires to see me nearby, simply abandoned me, zihahaha. Teach cast a glance at the manga page where Luffy and Buggy had literally taken over level 2. He couldn't help but show an enthusiastic smile. He was close to seeing the success of his counterpart's future plans. For him, this was the only entertainment in this world. The difference between him and his counterpart who possessed the dark fruit and the cunning of a powerful pirate who lived longer than him was like the difference between a pebble and a mountain. Zehahaha. Cough. At this moment, Teach began to cough violently. If not for the Zoan Devil fruit that enhanced his vitality, he would have died long ago from the injuries caused by the Whitebeard. Although months had passed since then, and despite being treated by Marco, he still suffered in silence. It seems your condition hasn't changed, Marshal D. Teach. At this moment, the shadow of an old man covered his cell. The aura of the old man silenced the nearby prisoners. Teach's eyes widened as he observed the massive white mustache that resembled a crescent. The Whitebeard's face collided with the visitor's, prompting him to instinctively step back. Don't worry, I am not him, said the Gorosei. At that moment, Teach regained his focus. What is one of the revered world rulers doing here? What does he want from a little punk like me? Teach fully understood his situation at this stage. The Marines must not have apprehended him without reason. Throwing him into Impel Down despite having no bounty on his head was not without reason either. After all, he was just a trainee on the Whitebeard's ship. If not for One Piece manga, he would still be planning for a distant future on the Whitebeard's ship. One Piece manga brought that distant future for him to bite into. It had used his own future against him very well, even he felt horror at just the thought of it. Marshal D. Teach, we appreciate your potential greatly. How about striking a deal? At this moment, the voice of Saint Warcury echoed in Teach's astonished cell. Finally, my chance here. I can respond now. These were Teach's internal thoughts at this moment. Chapter 528's Events. Level 2 Guard Room, Ruins. At this moment, Buggy's eyes widened, and he opened his mouth in awe as he saw the destroyed guard room and the defeated basilisk. Oh yeah! Luffy, the dwarf version, shouted after defeating Basilisk. Buggy trembled, asking, "Why? Your arm got gigantic." Z? What the hell was that? And what's with you now?" He inquired about the reason for Luffy's ridiculous size reduction. "Ha! That was Gear 3rd. Ha! Looks like I beat it. Now come on. Let's go to level 3. Luffy was eager to go to the next floor immediately. "You beat that monster." Buggy marveled. "You woo. They took out the basilisk. Awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank God, they even busted up the guard room." The prisoners who were watching all of this from the side exclaimed in amazement. "I dunno who you are, but thanks. Now just get the keys for us, the keys for the door and the shackles. Those keys over there." Just like the level 1 prisoners, the level 2 prisoners also wanted to get the keys. Among the prisoners, Mr. 3 Galdino was in a state of awe after learning about Luffy. Straw Hat Luffy. Why is he here? No, more importantly, if they're outside the cell, they must be breaking out. An instinctive smile appeared on his face, he thought internally. If I take advantage of this opportunity, this could be an unparalleled chance to escape. It looks like God hasn't forsaken me after all. All right. It's open. We're out of the cell. The prisoners cheered excitedly when they were released. Jaya ha ha ha. Be grateful, ya bastards. Buggy laughed with sheer joy. Tell us the names of the guys who set us free. Captain Buggy. We'll never forget this. Captain Buggy is our savior. Kaya ha 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 ha. That's right, engrave my name into your hearts. Buggy continued to revel in the praise of the prisoners he had liberated, making things even more chaotic so he could escape in the midst of the chaos. Keep on opening the cells. Beside Oro Jackson. Oh, what a despicable villain you are, Buggy. Undoubtedly, the Marines want nothing more than to tear you apart at this moment. Ha 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 ha. What a mischievous troublemaker you are. Ha ha ha. That's funny. You've really freed the prisoners. Ha ha ha. A truly wicked clown. Ha ha ha. Sengoku, Zephyr, and Kon will be very angry about this vile act. Rayleigh said, laughing heartily. It was expected from Buggy-sama. Do they want to keep me in Impel Down? In their dreams. Today will mark the beginning of their worst nightmares because of me. Jaya ha ha ha. Don't dream too much, Buggy. Luffy is the one who started all this, you're just reaping the rewards of his hard work, you exploiter. Shanks said with a strange expression. What did you say? And who guided him on the path, is it your sister? Buggy erupted in anger. Calm down, comrades, let's enjoy the manga without conflict. Calm your fears, Buggy, everyone knows you're a legend. Ha ha ha. As if your flattering words will succeed in swaying me, you fool, Jaya ha ha. Of course, I will be the legend Buggy the Clown, the future Pirate King. Since they captured me, I will capture them in the future too. Wait, is this the bastard from Baroque Works Mr. 3 planning to steal the spotlight from me? At this moment, Buggy noticed Galdino joining Marineford. Inside the hall, the foreheads of all the Marines wrinkled at this moment. A suffocating silence hung in the air. Is this really Impel Down? What the hell? Damn you, Buggy. He really freed them. Each one of those chaotic prisoners. What is Magellan doing? Is he back to relieve himself again? Fire is breaking out in your house, you fool. Do something. Seeing the prisoners being released one by one from their cells made Mangaka shudder. It was all a sequence of events, the main cause of which was his negligence when he allowed the Straw Hat into Impel Down. Everything that happened and would happen later would be primarily due to his negligence. This would be a black mark in his record as a veteran vice admiral. The evidence of that was Aquinas looks at him, making him sweat. Sigh, I hope Magellan can somehow control the situation and that Hancock doesn't turn against us at this crucial time. Sengoku could only sigh. Chapter 628, The Appearance of Knight of the Sea, Jimbei. Drawing of Spirit. Fishman Island. Like a beautiful pearl in the depths of the seas, Fishman Island glittered with an enchanting radiance for souls amidst the sunlight emanating from the giant mangrove trees surrounding it. Giant sea kings could be seen on the side guarding the kingdom from all directions as if they were waiting for the promised day when they would fulfill their awaited duty. Inside the massive pearl, where the kingdom of Ryugu is located, and inside the art store in particular, all eyes were focused with bated breath on the last part of chapter 528, which was titled Knight of the Sea, Jimbei. King Neptune read the chapter, astonishment and joy engraved on his face. The same went for his ministers and guards stationed beside him, not only the king and his companions, but every member of the Fishman race as well. Who would have expected that in addition to Fisher Tiger, there was another hero from their race present, not just anywhere, but in the same cell with Ace? After hearing that you became a Shichibukai, I thought you would become a traitorous pirate to the race. Who would have expected that it's really you, Jimbei? King Neptune looked at Jimbei, one of his royal guards, with a look of profound astonishment. Jimbei himself did not expect to appear in the manga, let alone with such a significant background. The 24-year-old Jimbei's eyes widened as he stared at the manga pages. Chapter 528's Events. On the floor where Fire Fist Ace is being held, a blue-skinned but bloodied leg emerged, surrounded by steel shackles. Z. Ha! The sound of heavy breathing was followed by a loud scream. Nobody is getting out of here. The guard beast, wielding a heavy club, paid no attention to his screams. He immediately struck him harshly, deepening his wounds, and then left the cell. The fishman man bore the pain in silence. Didn't even scratch my itch, said the fishman. Next to him, Ace had a pained look on his face. Looks like you got it pretty good, again. Old man, Ace said intermittently. Ha! It's not my body that hurts. Finally, the fishman's face appeared, looking strong, and his identification card also became visible. Ace. What hurts is my heart, that can't enforce my justice. Royal Shichibukai Jimbei, Knight of the Sea, Whale Shark Fishman, former bounty 250 million berry. Jimbei collected his breath and suppressed his pain before continuing, at this rate, even death won't take me. What good is my title? I have no need for it. And if I can't stop this war, I have no need for my life either. With these strong and honest words from Jimbei, the curtain fell on the chapter. I don't understand. What's my connection to all of this? Why am I here in this situation? Jimbei was confused after finishing reading the chapter. What happened, how it happened, and why it's happening, all these questions without answers overwhelmed his mind. Calm down, Jimbei. Are you asking why you're a character of this magnitude in the manga? That's because you are talented and extremely powerful, that's the least I expect from you. I mean, from your future counterpart. At this moment, the most respected man in the race, Fisher Tiger, spoke. His words were like a guiding lighthouse in the darkness. Do I really have these abilities? Of course, you do. Your manga counterpart must have a strong connection with the Whitebeard pirates to sacrifice his freedom and Shichibukai title to not stand against him. He even wanted to trade his life to stop this inevitable war. As expected of you, Jimbei, I won't be surprised even if you join the Straw Hat Pirates in the future. Jimbei's eyes widened after hearing Fisher Tiger's words. Me? Joining Luffy and the others? No, that's impossible. What's impossible about that? I look forward to seeing your first encounter with Luffy after a few chapters, ha. Fisher Tiger was excited to see a worthy representative of the Fishman race at this crucial stage. Jimbei was perfectly qualified to be a strong support for the story's protagonist, unlike Arlong, who was one of the worst representations of the fishman race. Speaking of Arlong, he glared enviously at Jimbei at that moment. Not only him, but most members of the fishman race looked at Jimbei with a mixture of pride and some envy deep in their hearts. Appearing in One Piece manga as a main character means you are a great person qualified to be a hero. Many just want to see themselves in the manga, but only a few are qualified to be a significant and impactful characters. Fisher Tiger was one of them, but unlike Jimbei, Fisher Tiger had already died, leaving behind a great story waiting to be revealed later. A story that would color the hearts of any living being with various shades of true emotions. But the color that was coloring Jimbei's heart at the moment was confusion. He didn't know what his role would be after losing his Shichibukai title in the first appearance. Marineford. So, this is it. I understand. Sengoku nodded in understanding after finishing reading the chapter. His conclusions were mysterious for some, but most had already grasped the general situation through the manga. Is this fish an ally to Whitebeard? Sakazuki wondered. How could he not be his ally? At this point in time in the manga, the entire Fishman Island is under Newgate's protection. Sengoku explained. Arara, right, I forgot about that already. Sighed Kuzan in inside. That's because you're bothered by remembering boring details. That's scary, he seems powerful. So, Fishman race can produce such a man, really? Unlike his words, Borsellino wasn't scared at all. In terms of manga art, Jimbei was drawn with extreme mastery to look truly frightening, especially in his current bloody state and the fierce expression on his face. But in his eyes, there was a gentle sparkle. When a child looks at him, they would feel peace, relaxation, and even security. This means one thing: this character had a kind soul. Rob's brush reached a terrifying level of drawing mastery. He could draw spirituality as well. This is what made readers around the world feel empathy for Jimbei before they felt any feelings of fear or awe because of his appearance, which could lead to unconscious racism later. This simple sign means that humans, thanks to the manga, have become more accepting of the Fishman race little by little, as if they were humans too. They won't realize that until they live in a world where a fishman could be a member of a human family. What did you understand, Sengoku? Zephyr asked. Suru looked at him, waiting for the answer. Sengoku looked at the board where Jimbei's name was written with 2 lines under it before saying, this Shichibukai relieved of his duties might be a significant obstacle in the war. He is strong and has an iron will, dealing with him will be troublesome. My counterpart did well by imprisoning him. But it seems, he will meet Luffy and get his help to escape from Impel Down. Chapter 629, Freedom in Prison. Wano Country. The Whitebeard pirates are still accompanying Oden on a tour through the vast lands of Wano at the moment. However, today they were more interested in exploring and enjoying One Piece manga, not Wano's food, and unique culture. Jimbei, this looks like a wonderful son. Well, I've decided, I'll have a new son. Gorararara, laughed Whitebeard. Upon hearing this, a helpless smile appeared on the faces of the Whitebeard crew members. Even Oden and the Akazaya trembled instinctively. Whitebeard was delighted at the idea of getting a whale shark as a son, and he couldn't wait to head to Fishman Island immediately. In the manga pages, every word Jimbei said to Ace made him more determined about it. Chapter 529, Beast Hell. After a long silence, Jimbei spoke, saying, to the government, I am just a pirate-hating pirate. But you guys are totally different. Ha! Ha! Pirate-hating. You? Ace was surprised to hear that. Ace's inquiry was understandable for Jimbei, who began to clarify. It might be surprising to you, Ace, but I visited Whitebeard's ship many times. You've got class, and you traveled the sea floor doing your business. I liked you guys. Ace raised his head to look at Jimbei before saying, I seem to remember you trying to kill me a couple of times. Same goes for you. I just wanted to be of use to him. By saying that, Jimbei meant Whitebeard. Now, Fishman Island is at peace. And it's all thanks to your old man, Whitebeard. Jimbei appeared extremely grateful to Whitebeard for that. Maragoa. At least he is well aware of his true position. I like that. In the government hall, the 5 elders, excluding Saint Warcury, who had left for Impel Down, were following the events of the manga with pure curiosity. As expected, he has some kind of dependent relationship with Whitebeard, this Jimbei. Saint Saturn calmly remarked, showing no signs of any shock. Did they try to kill each other, Jimbei and Fire Fist Ace? That was also unexpected. I wonder why that happened. Among the 4 saints, Saint Venus was the most interested in the reason behind their attempts to kill each other. Perhaps they were enemies at the start. I bet it was just a test from Whitebeard for each of them. That's more logical. Edward Newgate is cunning and unpredictable. For Jimbei to say that Fishman Island is safe because of Whitebeard indicates that it's true indeed. Yes, he must have declared it as a territory under his protection. That was mentioned earlier in the manga, wasn't it? Yes, perhaps. The Gorosei agreed that it had already been mentioned, so they quickly absorbed what Jimbei was saying in the new chapter of the volume. Nothing was outside their expectations so far. When they saw him, they knew that Whitebeard's strong stance had made a deep impression on Jimbei, making him an almost unofficial follower. Because he's too strong. That's why we want to bring him down in the manga. Saint Mars said disdainfully after seeing Jimbei talk about the government's decision without being convinced. His fault is that he's too strong, but not strong enough to make us flinch like that person did. Fufu. At that moment, they heard light steps descending from the long staircase. Her words carried deep meanings about both Whitebeard and another man, or more precisely, the difference between them. Not even Nika, who was ridiculously strong and still is, can match him. Even I can't help but feel weak sometimes. Emo continued to descending the stairs quietly while saying that. The 4 saints didn't dare to interrupt her or even breathe. Hearing words of weakness from the undefeated god in their hearts made them instinctively feel weak as well. Why hasn't he taken that final step yet, even though he knows he can succeed? Why hasn't he come to see me after all this time? Oof. Well, I'll accept the delay as long as he doesn't delay the release schedule. Fufu. Emu disappeared from the government hall where the empty throne was, and appeared above the red line, her eyes overlooking the fake paradise she created with her own hands and the vast sea she had always desired to sail one day, like any child longing for freedom. For some reason, she became more distant from freedom, more and more, until she could no longer understand what this word freedom meant. Unlike her brother Nika, who was getting closer and closer to freedom until he became its embodiment. She and her brother became almost complete opposites with different concepts. Her brother, Nika, was an embodiment of freedom, while his sister, Emu, was an embodiment of prison. At least until that man came into this world. Fufu. I look forward to your next move. In this world, other people manage to embrace what is called freedom and get close to it to a great extent. One of those fortunate people was the pirate king Roger, who had recently become fed up with everything. This was a sign of his approaching true freedom, just as Joy Boy did one day. The reason for his boredom and sadness was his separation from the world and the desire to live in the manga world to stand before Ace. I see in him the young self I defeated by following a different path. Ace represents my weak side, completely. Roger sighed suddenly. Rouge was surprised after hearing her husband's sudden words. Ace is strong too, she said with clear annoyance. Wahahaha. Even if he has my weak side, he's stronger than most people in this world, so yes, Ace is strong. Roger said, easing Rouge's annoyance a little. Even if he's weak, I'll love him forever, he's my little son. I'll protect him so he doesn't have to be strong. Rouge whispered in a low voice. She seemed more detached from reality than Roger. Behind them, Rob appeared in silence. They didn't notice his arrival at all. Rob observed this scene for some time before disappearing again. The time is still not right. I will grant you this wish when the time comes. I have approached it anyway. Rob had already thought about how to solve this puzzle. Unlike him and Alvia at that time, who didn't have the ability to come up with a better solution in the Enies Lobby arc. This time was completely different with the level 20 feature and the last one of the system. Chapter 630, Many Enemies of the Whitebeard. Fishman Island. So, that's how it is. Whitebeard is a benefactor to our Fishman Island in the manga? King Neptune was astonished at this moment. Jinbei's detailed words about the situation of Fishman Island in the manga, which lacked support for the art store in the Hunters' Guild, made him realize the severity of the situation in the so-called Great Pirate Age started by Roger. Once the Great Pirate Age began, the suffering of the Fishman people became at least 100 times harsher, said Fisher Tiger, who was more aware of human cruelty, especially pirates among humans. Fortunately, in the real world, there is Rob Sama and his art store. Otherwise, we would have ended up like Fishman Island in the manga, waiting for the compassion of Whitebeard to declare his protection for us. Susan said with great appreciation in her eyes when mentioning Rob's name. He was the man she loved and cherished in her heart, the man she wanted to give everything she had to. Her daughter, Shirley, looked at her with curiosity before whispering in her ear, "He has come, Mom, he is waiting for you inside." That's what the crystal ball told me. Susan's eyes widened, and her breath intensified as she hid the blush on her cheeks under the seriousness of the store goddess before stepping away without anyone noticing under the work curtain. Miss Susan is right, we should be grateful to Rob-san. Oh, she's gone? Well, Miss Susan is busy, and that's understandable from a senior goddess store. King Neptune redirected his attention to Jinbei, who was reading the manga with intense concentration. Is this crocodile? What's wrong with those bastards? All of them undoubtedly lost to Whitebeard in the past. All of them really want to tear him apart. To be a great figure in this world means having a lot of enemies. That's logical, Jinbei, Fisher Tiger said. Chapter 529's Events. All the pirates who advance through the Grand Line must pass through Fishman Island. As soon as the Great Pirate Age started, Fishman Island was thrown into chaos. A never-ending stream of human pirates, and the Marines pursuing them. Jinbei continued to speak about the tragedy of Fishman Island in the Great Pirate Age. Many fishmen and mermaids were abducted and sold. But just when we were about to give in to despair, Whitebeard appeared. At this moment, Whitebeard appeared in the background, saying, "This island is under my protection." Jinbei never forgot that day, so much so that he admitted it. With those words, nobody dared to lay a hand on Fishman Island. What a power! Jinbei was astonished. He has several islands under the protection of his name. It's not right to take him down just because he's a pirate boss. If, by some chance, he was to die, what would happen on these seas? The government is very well able to imagine that. I wanted to stop this fight, even if it cost me my life. I wanted to get you out of here. Ace. Z. Finally, Jinbei declared his true desire. Jinbei. That's enough, said Ace. You're just making it worse. I haven't given up hope yet. I still have faith that a miracle or opportunity will present itself, said Jinbei. At that moment, an additional voice that couldn't bear the silence anymore appeared. Ka-ha-ha-ha-ha. Things are getting pretty interesting. Cuckoo-cuckoo. In the adjacent cell, a man with scars across his face and a gold alloy in place of his left hand appeared. So you're telling me there's a once-in-a-lifetime chance to kill Whitebeard? That gets my blood pumping. You? Jinbei knew who the speaker was. You think you'll take my old man's head? Ace asked mockingly of Crocodile, who immediately responded. It's not just me. As soon as he said that, the laughter of dozens of human monsters sleeping in the eternal darkness prison was heard. Jaya ha ha ha. Kill Whitebeard. You whoa. You whoa. That bastard's gonna die. Hi-yahoo. That's great. That's the best. Get me to the ocean. I'll be the one to kill him. Lemme fight too. Jaya ha ha ha. I'll end Whitebeard's reign. Shut up, all of you! Exclaimed Jinbei. Jinbei. Fire Fist. Remember this well. There's no shortage of silver medalists shedding tears, just because they couldn't overcome Whitebird and Roger. Gah ha 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 ha. Crocodile laughed harshly. Sorbet Kingdom. Nfa fu. Who would have expected our star to appear again in the manga? Sir Crocodile, the respected one, hee-haw. Ivankov laughed at this moment when he recognized Crocodile. You must have a lot of hatred for Whitebeard in the manga. Could it be that the person who took your left hand and caused those scars on your face is Whitebeard? That means you were seriously seeking death when you were young in the manga. Lucky for you, you joined our revolutionary army in this life before going to search for Whitebeard. And what's it to you, you pimp? Crocodile was perplexed because, at this moment, he was discovering things he didn't know about his counterpart in the manga. He didn't know that Whitebeard was his enemy. Your diligent search for Pluton was probably to gain enough power to confront Whitebeard, with the aim of revenge. Dragon spoke at this moment. Boa ha ha. The little shrimp went to search for Edward Newgate in the New World to fight him when he heard that he was the strongest in the sea. I can imagine such a scenario after your ass was kicked, you came back to the Grand Line and cried. Lucky for you that you didn't die or become his son. Hearing that from Garp made Crocodile want to erupt in his face. His words were more provocative than the Okama. Big brother Croco. I can make you older so you can train more and get a strong body. You can beat Whitebeard at that time. Crocodile looked at two short old women, not knowing which one had just spoken. But he knew that the little girl Bonnie had said that. It's fine. I have no grudge against Whitebeard in this life. Returning to Wano country. Garararara. All these are my enemies. Ace seems really shocked by this scene. Don't be surprised, my son, they will surely want to tear me apart and see me die. I was the reason for their current situation, so their hatred for me should be real. Whitebeard was somewhat surprised and happy to see a group of thugs cursing him from hell. These thugs dare to think about facing you, humph. Even scaring little Ace. On Whitebeard's shoulder, Stussy cursed the prisoners who wanted to join in killing her beloved. Don't worry, my dear Stussy, they're just mobs at this stage, Gorararara. I look forward more and more to seeing what they call the Summit War unfold. Victory will be our ally as we used to be accustomed to, Oyaji. Marco sat on the other shoulder of Whitebeard like a beloved bird. Gorararara. Who knows? That wraps up this part of What If Becoming a Mangaka in One Piece World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.